Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton, and today we are finally talking about Umamusume. I'm really excited for this set. I've been excited for this set since they announced it in English, and I think there's a lot of really fun and interesting stuff to do with the set. So we're going to talk about it today. This is the almost complete guide to Umamusume in English, Weiss Schwarz. Couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. Number one, this video is just going to cover the first set for Umamusume. That's what's coming out on hopefully the day this video releases. There is another set coming out in English later in 2026. Think of this as part 1 with part 2 coming out after set 2 drops. These will be intended to be watched in succession as a part 1, part 2, regardless of when you watch this. So if set 2 is out, stay here, finish this video, and then go on to part 2 to kind of get the complete picture of everything that's going on with the two sets. Number 2, this is not a set review. We're not going to go card by card, not through every card at least. This is more about the different archetypes that can be built, the different decks that can be built, the way that combos can work with each other, and going over the key mechanic inspiration, specifically talking about how that can be used in this set. Third, this is not a video about meta relevance strictly. We will touch on that, but the most important thing that we're talking about is how to use everything, how to play as much of your playset as possible, how to play specific combos, or if there's a character you want to run, how you can use those cards as effectively as possible in this set. That's the goal. We will touch on meta relevance, like I said, but the point of this video is to talk about everything you can do in the set. So we're going to talk about some stuff that doesn't have any meta relevance. We're going to talk about some cards that are frankly not very good, but they're at least interesting, and you can build some fun stuff out of it. And finally, it is the almost complete guide for a reason. We're not going to talk about every card, like I mentioned. We're also not going to talk about every possible combo combination or deck that you can build in this set. This is more of a general overview. We're going to talk about all of the relevant combos, all the interesting combos, but we're not going to talk about every single card. And there's a very real possibility that I'm going to miss a card that ends up being quite good or quite important in certain builds. If I do, my apologies. With that out of the way, let's get into it. First things first, if you're going to play Umamusume, you have to understand inspiration. It is the unique mechanic to this set. And here's how it works. A card with Inspire, also known as Inheritance in the original translations from JP to English, you'll hear those two terms interchangeably, Inspiration and Inheritance. A character with Inspire can become a marker when another character is played on the stage. It is the thing with Inspire that becomes the marker. It can be a marker under anything, and there are lots of cards that need markers for effects in this set. That's why this is such an important mechanic. But it's important to know that there are only a handful of cards that can become markers. Those are the ones that have Inspire as a keyword. There are 16 cards in the set that have the keyword Inspire, and 4 of them that are going to see a lot more play than any others. The most important card among them, probably the most important card in the set, is the level 0 Sakurachiono O Brainstormer. It's just a salvage Brainstormer, but it has Inheritance, because so many things require this Inspiration Inheritance ability. This is going to be a key card. It's going to be a 4 of in a lot of decks, because it is an inspiration piece that does something else. You already need a Brainstormer. You might as well run the Brainstormer that can enable your level 1 or level 3 combo, or your other random pieces you have in your set that require a marker. That's why this is going to be such an important card. This is a card that if you run all of these decks in Uma, you're going to need a lot of copies of it. The second most important card in this set, I would argue, is this level 0 Maruzensky coin flip. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, mill a card. If it is a level 2 or lower character, this can jump back to hand when it's front attacked. This is important because it is the only inspiration piece that pluses on its own. There are a couple of combos that have inspiration. There are a couple other pieces that can fix you, maybe, like they go even. But this is the only one that is a raw plus. It is a unit that you can attack with that then comes back into your hand, or otherwise remains in play. This is going to be really, really important because most things with markers in this set are also not going +1 strictly because they require the marker. So you are doing a thing, you're playing a card with Inspire, you're doing a thing, and then that thing becomes a marker underneath something else, and that allows that other card that has the marker now to plus. Very easy to use Inheritance in a way that kind of screws you over by accidentally negging yourself by playing a whole bunch of Inheritance pieces, and then you look down and you have no cards in your hand. This can help to prevent that because it goes +1 and then kind of pushes that plus into the next turn, allowing you to combo with this as a marker, allowing you to basically exchange this card for a different card off of the combo. So, very important card. This is going to be a 4 of in a lot of lists. I'm running it as a 4 of kind of by default in everything that I play, basically until I don't need it. This is just one of those things you throw into every list and see exactly how many you need. It's that valuable of a profile, and it's that easy of a card to acquire because it's on a common. A couple other fixing pieces with Inspire. The level 0 Grass Wonder, just a drop salvage, gives 1,000 to something on play. It has Inspiration, and it's a filter tool. It's fine, it will go negative, but at the very least late in the game, instead of being this card that you will want to overplay, or this card that is going to crash into something because it's small, at the very least it can become an enabler for something else. So that is a benefit for some of these Inspiration pieces in the second half of games, is that they're not going to be attacking units. They can go under better attacking units and hopefully replace themselves. But in any case, drop salvage with Inspiration. This is going to see play 1 or 2 in most lists just because it's a filter tool with Inspiration. The other one is another filter tool with Inspiration, the level 1 Measure Bright. On play, reverse loot, discard 2, draw 2. We would love for that to be draw 2, ditch 2, but we can't have everything. It does effectively filter for CX and events. That's nice. It has Inspiration, of course, so it's going to go and try to go get a CX and then go under the combo that you're trying to loop. It's only 3k power on its own, so you really don't want to attack with this if you don't have to. Basically, it is a fixing tool that tries to replace itself when it goes underneath something else as a marker with combo. So it's fine. It's fine. Sometimes you need to find cards, and this can help you find them. Sometimes it'll screw you over by putting 2 climaxes in your hand or 2 dead cards in your hand. But overall, 2 cards of deck speed, 2 cards of filter on a card that effectively gets to replace itself because it's going to boost a combo with its Inspiration ability is perfectly fine. So those are the key Inspiration pieces. These are the key payoffs in the mid-game for those Inspiration pieces. There are 2 of them that use these markers. 1, the level 1 Measure McQueen Pants combo gains 3k on turn. With Pants, it'll be 8k on board. On attack, check 3 at a character. If it has a marker, salvage a level 2 or higher character from your waiting room as well. So the ideal sequence is early game. You are plussing off that coin flip, right? That coin flip's jumping back into your hand. Or you're using the Measure Bright to try to dig to get your CX, and then you have those Inspiration pieces, and then they become markers under the McQueen and effectively replace themselves with cards that you pick up off the combo. That's the goal. Inspiration on its own does not go positive very often. It usually breaks even, but the goal is to replace the Inspiration piece after you've used its utility effect with something else, usually something you get to select off of a combo. That is the sequence that we're looking for, and on this McQueen, it makes it very easy because it's on Pants. It's a very loopable level 1. The other one that does something very similar, they're almost the same combo, quite frankly, is the level 1 Satano Diamond. It is on a stock soul. It gains 4k on turn, so it's also 8k just like the McQueen. On attack, check 5, add a character. If it has a marker underneath it, you get to add 2. So again, that's what we're trying to do with Inspiration. We're trying to use them as utility pieces, use them as filter pieces, use them to accomplish something specific, and then after they've done their thing, they can go underneath combos as markers and replace themselves in our hand. Both of these combos are very good. These are the 2 best combos in the set. They're probably both going to see play. Most people seem to prefer the diamond, but I think that both of them are very good depending on what it is you're trying to do. If you're playing a deck that maybe needs more level 2 or higher salvage access specifically, there are a couple of top ends that lean more heavily into packages. The McQueen might be the better play for you. If you need to build stock, the stock soul might turn out better for you than trying to loop the combo on pants. Just depends on what your deck needs. Both combos are very good. So let's talk about a bad combo. The level 1 Silent Suzuka gains 2k on turn. Combo on bar, needs a full board, does not use inheritance. On attack salvage, and if there's nothing else rested in the front row, it can give itself a coin flip ability. Basically, when your opponent attacks it, this one Suzuka that you can give the ability to, when your opponent attacks it, mill if it's a level 2 or lower character, Suzuka can jump back into your hand. Trying to loop the bar combo, that makes sense, but my gosh, this is rough. This is very rough. Full board condition sucks. It just does. Sometimes you have a rough opening and you don't have cards in hand to fill the board, and then your combo literally does nothing. That really sucks. It's also a salvage with no deck speed, so you have to find main phase deck speed. The self coin flip ability is kind of cool. Wish you could give it to all of your lanes so that it could actually, potentially go +2, good combos in 2026 tend to do. This is rough, and it makes me sad because I would really like there to be a good Suzuka deck. Suzuka has a level 1 and level 3 combo. You could play a Suzuka waifu type build, and I'm going to, because Suzuka is one of my favorites, but man, these combos are not good for her, and it kind of sucks. So, yeah, do what you can with this combo. Unfortunately, the 8-bar list in Uma is just not going to be very good. The next combo is definitely better. The level 1 Seiyun Sky on choice gains 4k on turn. At the Encore step, you can pay 1 to loot 2, draw 2, ditch 2, so pretty good. I think we like that. It's an ability to filter, and even more importantly, the combo on choice on reverse, check 3, add anything. So the Toru from Dragon Maid on reverse, on a 7/5 body with a soul trigger. On reverse never feels amazing to read on a card, but most of the time it's not going to matter. It can be denied with coin flips and Oberos and things like that, and that's still annoying. You're going to run into stuff in Swiss that will just deny your combo. But overall, this could be a lot worse, and it does get to check for events, it gets to check for CXs, you get to add any number of things, any card you want off of your actual combo, so pretty good, and it's got a soul trigger on it, definitely a viable candidate in an 8-choice list. The other mid-game combos, level 1 Ogre Cap gains 3k on turn, combos on the door, on attack check 4, add 1. The most important thing that it does though is that it changes with the level 1 Tamamo Cross. That cross has a defensive scry, allowing you to try to mill for cancels, and it also has hand encore, so the idea is that you combo with the cap, you change it into these 3 Tamamo crosses, you use the crosses to scry, and then you hand encore the crosses, change them back into these Ogre Caps, and then loop the combo and keep it going. If it was on a bar, this would work a little better. If it's on a door, it's a little more speculative. It's a neat engine, it's a fun engine, I've been working with it, and I enjoy playing it, but it's not as consistent as it needs to be really, really good, but it is an interesting engine and can lengthen the game with those defensive scries. Level 1 winning ticket on standby gains 3k on turn. On reverse, mill the top card. If it's a character, add, and then do it again. Pretty good, honestly, and it isn't just a reveal, it's a mill, so you don't just double with if the top card is a CX, which is nice. A tiny bit of deck speed. It isn't on reverse combo, but it's on standby. You can pump power to the back row. Standby combos that plus cards to hand aren't entirely common. They do happen, they do exist, but the fact that this is a standby level 1 free unit that pluses on reverse is pretty good, and it enables a very real 8 standby Uma package that we're going to talk about later on. 2/1 Zeno Rob Roy gains 1,000 for every other character on your board, and if you play it with a full board, you can stock from Waiting Room, so it pays for itself. Combos on book, on reverse, sack the CX to check 4 and add any character you see, so it's the 2/1 Union. It doesn't come down early, but it does come down for free. Combo is on book, which kind of sucks. There are some things you can do with this, though. I think the book trigger is easily the worst part of this. I actually kind of like this combo. It's kind of fun. I've been playing this alongside the TM Opera O Great Performance and been having a lot of fun with that. It's a very silly deck that's basically just like cleaning out the bottom of the playset, but it's got some fun stuff going on. There's a lot you can do with a 2-1 combo that you get for free. You do only get one lane of it, but it can go up to +4, probably going to go +3 in most cases, but still, reasonably playable combo. Again, the trigger is the worst part, but I kind of like this. You can definitely fiddle with this and have some fun. 2-1 Seeking the Pearl is another fun combo on a bad trigger. It's on Wind, which sucks, but gains 7k and +1 soul just for playing the game if all of your characters are Umamusume, which they will be. On attack, check 4 at a character. If this attack cancels, it gains 4k cross turn. So a 3 soul unit that basically gets to plus itself on board on cancel. This is neat. This is pretty cool. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to use this or where I want to play it, but I think this is very, very fun. Kind of a soul rush thing going on with a weird wind trigger involved. But yeah, swinging for 3 with this full board is pretty good. You're paying 1 for each of these units, but it's probably going to go +1 on board, so you're effectively trading stock for board. This is pretty good. I think that there's something to be done here. It's not as good as most of these other level 1 combos. It's not going to be in a meta package by any means, but it's certainly good enough to be in someone's fun deck. And if you pull the SP, then it's definitely a playable card in a context. This could actually really do well at an Meister Cup, just throwing that out there. Finally, level 0 combos. The level 0 Haru is one of my favorite cards in the entire set. It's a CX swap that combos with Stock Soul. On CX play, Warehouse, mill 3, salvage a character with a level equal to or less than the number of characters milled. Warehouse is pretty good. Warehouse on 0 is really fun. It allows you to play into a whole bunch of other stuff. It's also just a CX swap, so every time you pick up a CX, you just get to swap into this Stock Soul and keep it pushing. This is fun. This is a cool card. I rather like this. The level 0 combos in this set, by and large, are pretty playable for level 0 combos. None of them require an attack, and none of them sack the CX, so you can actually get multiple lanes of all of these combos. The Bakshin. Level 0 combo on 2 soul, it has Inspire, which means that after its combo turn, you can use it as a marker, refund itself effectively. On CX play, give another character in the middle lane -1 soul, and search your deck for a character. So on CX play, search for the cost of removing one of the souls that you pump off of slamming the CX from your middle lane, and you can do this for every Bakshin you have on the board. You could theoretically do this 4 times and just basically say your middle lane doesn't do anything, but you get to go +4 on the combo and also have these 3 soul units on the outside. It's a goofy combo. I've been playing around with it and I've been having a good time. I don't think it's very good, but 2 soul triggers are 2 soul triggers, 2 soul CXs are 2 soul CXs, and what else would Bakshin do if it wasn't slam a 2 soul? I don't think there's any other thing that she could have possibly been on combo-wise that would have made sense. Finally, level 0 Mayano Top Gun. A little less insane version of the Bakshin level 0. It also has Inspiration, which is cool. Combo on the door when you slam the CX. If you have 6 or less stock, check 3, add a character. So this will just chill in your back row until you decide you don't need it anymore and it becomes Inspiration for something else. I've seen people play like 8-door lists with this. I've seen this pop up in some deck lists. Again, another level 0 combo that has a useful piece of text in Inspiration on an actual combo that is not entirely useless. So all these level 0 combos are really fun. I think these are worth messing around with. None of them are going to be super meta relevant. I don't think any of them are like amazing combos, but they are very fun to play, and I think they fit really well into this kind of tinkering set that has all these different combos, all these different profiles that allows you to kind of do a bunch of different stuff and experiment and build in a lot of interesting and unique ways. All right, let's get into some staples. These are some cards that you're going to see in a lot of lists. Let's start with our level 0 fixing tools. Grass Wonder Ricky. It's an on-play clock from top Ricky to search. It also has on-play top check 2 rearrange. That's the important bit of text on this. A Ricky is a Ricky. This other text, this top check 2 rearrange, works well with some other stuff that tries to play off the top of the deck. It also means you get to see and rearrange your triggers at level 0. It means you get to prevent yourself from clocking a CX with the Ricky ability at level 1. Overall, just a good card that's going to see a lot of play. Level 0 Smart Falcon is a drop search that also has Draw Ditch if you have 2 or more other characters. A filter tool on a drop search, this is going to be a one of. You're going to see in a lot of places. I think this is a pretty good profile. A lot of people running 2 copies of the drop salvage just because it has inspiration. I think the free filter on this is kind of the thing that puts it over the top and makes it a pretty good one of in a lot of decks. Level 0 Kita-san Chiuri on play gives something 1500 on death. Ditch 1, check 4, add a level 1 or higher card. This can add events. Usually you're trying to find level 1 combo off of this, but it also gives a little bit of power, so it can help other stuff scale. It's also red fix, it's mill, it's cheery, right? Like cheery just does cheery things, and it is a perfectly good profile. Finally, the level 0 Aston CX swap. It is a CX swap, but the reason you're playing this one over the Haru in most lists is because it's red, and we need some red for the stock swap level 3, so we want to have some access to red fix for that. This is that piece that kind of gets us there. It also gains 1000 power in the middle lane, so it is a reasonable beater at level 0. Our level 0 plussing units, the stuff that can actually go +1 on their own. The big one is this level 0 Satano Diamond Clean Cut. On play gains 1500 power and an on attack scry one, which is always nice. When it gets a reverse, rest a character and move that character to the back row. This allows us to be a little more aggressive with our Brainstormer. Throw the Brainstormer down in the front row, attack with it, and then bring it back. It's also 3/5 on attack on the turn that it comes down, so nice and big, allows us to actually get the clear and proc this clean cut. This is a card that I think is going to see a ton of play, a lot of 3-ofs, 4-ofs with this card. Level 0 Nice Nature is a mill runner. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can mill, and if it's a character, this moves to a different slot. It also has an Amagi ability on CX play. You can pay 1, check 4, add a character. I think this plays really nicely in the standby list specifically. You get to go +1, and then when you slam the standby, you get to check 4 and add stuff to hand, right? Because standby typically doesn't play with as big of a hand. This allows you to refund some of your hand, and you don't mind standbying over this after you use its effect during CX phase. Level 0 Narita Top Road is a green 1/5 that gains 1000 if all your characters are Umamusume, and another 1500 if you have another character on the board on your opponent's turn, and it's a chaser. So it gets to run in front of one of your opponent's characters. 4000 chaser is just good. It can run away from bombs and run in front of other units. Not only does it go +1 most of the time, it also blocks a soul coming back because it blocks open lanes. This is just good. I think this is going to see a reasonable amount of play, especially in decks that need green. That is one of the benefits of these level 0 plussers. If you include the coin flip in this, the Maruzensky coin flip we talked about at the top, there are good level 0 plussers in all 4 colors, which means that color fixing in this set becomes a lot easier because you can always play a plussing 0. If you need a color, plussing 0 is always a reasonable option to add that color into your deck. And finally, the level 0 Nice Nature Helmet. Helmet's not a plus. Why is it on this slide? Well, in addition to being a helmet, where you sack it from board and ditch to salvage a character, it also clock bonds to the level 1 trial deck Mayano Top Gun. That Top Gun's a vanilla. That card doesn't matter. That's not the important bit. The important bit is that you can clock yourself from the top of the deck on play to go get a card from Waiting Room, which is a raw +1 for clocking yourself, because a card in hand is worth more than a card in clock. This is just plussing. It can then sack itself and ditch that level 1 Top Gun to get itself off the helmet ability, and then play it again, clock yourself, bond to the Top Gun, and clock yourself infinitely. If you need to get to level 1 for combo, level 2 for standby targets, level 3 for combo, whatever your reasoning that you need to get to a level, this can get you there for free. And when you play the helmet and clock yourself to bond to the top gun, you can then ditch the top gun and sack this to go get anything. That means clock self to salvage fix. So it goes even on hand for clocking yourself to turn itself into anything in your waiting room. That is super good. That is extremely good. And we are seeing a lot of people run a copy of the Top Gun in order to facilitate this, even though the Top Gun is literally just a vanilla. So really interesting card in a really interesting engine. Very interested to see how many people run this and how people use it to try to find some advantage. It's a very cool little engine. Let's talk about the rest of these staples. These are cards, again, that you're going to see in a lot of decks. I think this Agnes Digital's really good. On play, hand to stock gains 1500 when another character attacks. Hand to stock is valuable in a lot of finishers that use stock but not much hand. And there are a couple of finishers like that in this set, so digital fits very nicely into that. It's also green fix, and it gets to be a 4500 unit when it attacks last, 5500 with a CX down. This is perfectly reasonable. It scales most level 1 combos at that size. So not a bad beater at all at 0 or 1, because it can actually scale a lot of lanes. The 2-1 Fujikaseki is a Cart Titan. On play, mill 3 if there's a CX. Send one of your opponent's characters to their waiting room. It's also an early play bottom deck bomb, so classic Cart Titan profile. Can potentially deal with 2 lanes of board if your opponent is trying to establish a big board or a standby board. Fuji is the way to deal with it. Level 3 Tokai Teo. This is that stock swap we mentioned. It's an on-play pay 1 stock swap, so very normal stock swap cost. It also has on attack pay 1, pitch a copy of itself to burn 1. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that. It would require running a second copy of this and having that second copy in your hand just for a burn 1, but it is an interesting piece of text. Maybe in a more red-focused list you can get away with it. And then finally, a couple of backups. We do have an anti-change backup. Tozen Jordan is a pay 2, pitch 1, sack 1 anti-change. Aishin Flash is a 3K memory kicker. Normal backup profiles, you're going to see them because you need them. Especially the Jordan, probably going to be a one of in a lot of lists. Still very relevant anti-change counter, and it will be for a long time. So, those are the backups you are most likely to see in these sets. Other level 3s that you'll see quite a bit of, this is the best healer, the 3-2 Mr. CB. It has conditionless early play, so you can just play it at level 2 regardless of condition. It will send itself to waiting room on play if you do not rest 2 other characters on play. So, what you want to do with this, use your inspiration pieces, use your helmet, put those on the board, rest those, play this, then do your inspiration stuff. Sequencing is very important with this. If you don't sequence this right, you will miss out on your chance to heal. I see a lot of people not liking this card. I like this card. I think this card's actually quite good. You do need heals. Like, you just need heals in 2026. That's just the reality. Too many things can kill from 2-4, 2-5. You've got to be able to put yourself at least in a position where you are more likely to survive a big finishing turn. This is just a necessary piece of tech. Even if you very rarely use it, I think you still need to have a copy of this somewhere in your deck so that you have access to heal to try to put yourself in a position to not die. It also does synergize reasonably well with the rest of the package. If you were already planning on looping a combo, or if you had other inheritance effects, you were going to use those inheritance effects anyway. You were going to use that helmet anyway. You might as well just tap it and get a heal off as well. 3-2 El Condor Pasa on play gains 2k. Look at the top card, and if it's a character, summon it to the board. So a 1-card gacha roll off the top. It's pretty cool. There are a couple of cards in the set that can look at the top card and try to maneuver that a little bit. The big one being that Ricky we talked about. This is not an effect that I think you're going to use a lot, but when you do, it's going to feel like you hit the lottery. This is going to be really, really fun. It also has, with a marker, ditch 1 4-card Icy Tail. So the marker effectively becomes the second card you ditch, so it becomes a fair 4-card Icy Tail. This is probably my favorite off finisher because of both the lottery ticket that you've bought, as well as a 4-card Icy Tail that works to decompress, get your opponent out of a really good deck state, and just do a little bit of extra damage. Finally, at level 3, the Vodka Scarlet package. These 2 cards change into each other at climax phase from hand. So, the Vodka has anti-backup and on-play heal. It changes into the Scarlet from hand. The Daiwa Scarlet has anti-event on play, burn 1, and changes into the vodka. So you can proc one of these changes at the beginning of your climax phase. So you can play the vodka, get a heal, it changes into the scarlet, you get a burn 1. This is most interesting to me in the standby list when you can start doing this stuff at level 2. There are some people who are running this as kind of like an auxiliary extra burn package, and some more low-costed finishers. We'll talk about those in a bit. But yeah, this is a really neat and interesting package, and I love that they have put vodka and scarlet together. These two can never escape each other. Let's talk about these events. The level 2 Chairman Akikawa event goes to memory on play, but it procs from memory to do things. You can send one of them from memory to waiting room to salvage 1, send 2 of them to burn 2, send 3 of them from memory to waiting room to burn 3, and give 3k to a character. It effectively can replace itself, right? Like you send this card from memory to salvage, and then from salvage to waiting room to pick up something from waiting room, so it goes even to salvage, which is very good value. But it also serves as an extra burn package in decks that maybe don't have as much reach. You're going to see a lot of this, and it's going to be either a 4 of or a 0 of. This is not going to be a 2 of or a 3 of kind of tech situation. This is a 4 of. You're trying to shove 3 of these into memory so that you can get a salvage off if you need it, or a burn 2 or a burn 3 if you need it for your finisher. This is a good card. You're going to see a ton of it, and it's on a common. Again, this set being reasonable with some of these 4 of profiles. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but in any case, this card's going to see a lot of play. Level 3 Tazuna event, rest a character, check 11, and summon a character to the board. This is the ultimate gacha roll, and I think it's pretty cool. There are decks that have expensive finishers that this can help to pay for. If it's a stock-intensive finisher and you are trying to get a 3rd copy, this can potentially get you there, which is pretty cool. I don't think this card's going to see a lot of meta play, just because it is literally a gacha roll, but you get to spin the wheel, and if you get to summon a finisher or an off finisher, or even just a big good unit to the board, this is extremely good rate potentially for you. So it's just a 3-0 event. So I don't know. I think that a lot of decks are going to benefit from running this. Not the best decks. The best decks are going to want more consistency than this provides. But a lot of decks that maybe wouldn't be very easy to pilot suddenly become a lot more interesting when you have the possibility of just summoning your stuff to the board off of this event for free. Finally, the level 2 Sasami either grants 5k and 2 soul to a character, or it's a gacha for 1. Check 1 if it's a character, summon it to the board. I don't really see how this card's going to see any play. I don't know how we make this card good, but it's interesting and weird, and I wanted to bring it up. There are a couple other events in the set, but they basically don't do anything that a character isn't already doing for you. So these are the most interesting and important events. The Akikawa is going to see a lot of play. The Tazuna will see some kind of niche play. I really don't know where we're going to find the Sasami, but if someone can figure out how to make the Sasami good, let me know, because I think that card is really fun. Alright, so now that we've talked about all of the combos and all of the staples and all the packages for the early game, let's talk about the end game and how it all comes together and what these different archetypes look like. We're going to start with the Curran-chan bar list. This is most people's favorite. It's also my favorite. I really like this. On play, check X equal to the number of characters you have on board. It does need a marker, so you'll play this, do that effect, and then marker the inspiration piece. Combo with the bar. If it has that marker, on attack, burn 1, mocha 2. So look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Put anything you see there that you don't want there into waiting room, leave the rest on top. Obviously, fishing for climaxes, trying to deny cancels. I like this mostly for the check X. The check X is easily my favorite part of this. This is going to get its combo basically every single time, just because it's a 6-stock finisher that gets to process 15 cards. It gets to dig for CX, it gets to dig for copies of itself, it gets to dig for other things that it wants to augment its finisher. That check X is extremely powerful. I've always been team cantrip over heal. This is like the ultimate payout for that core belief, is this best possible cantrip on this Curran. The finisher does come with its own set of challenges, though, the big one being that it is still a mocha, and mochas, especially mochas for 2, just do not close consistently. It's very easy to check the top 2, they're both clean, and the 3rd or the 4th card down is the cancel. Or check 2, get rid of 1, and the cancel is still the 3rd or 4th card down. Especially in decks that like to run the stock soul, you're looking at a situation where you might swing Mocha 2, get rid of a CX, right? You trigger the stock soul, and now you're swinging for 5. The Mocha is just not doing you a whole lot of good when you're digging 4 cards into unknown territory to try to stick a big swing. Mochas have not been meta relevant for a long time for a reason. They do not get you there oftentimes. And even with the burn one does make this better. It's still just Trouble Girl. Like, this is still just Trouble Girl with a Mocha 2 on top of it. It doesn't have a particularly high ceiling on its own, and the floor is even quite low, because even if you hit all your burn ones, you still have to hit your actual swings to close from anything beyond 3, 4. One of the benefits, though, is that it can side for precision damage into anything that isn't a level 3. So if you hold up a swing into a level 1 or a level 2 until your last swing, and your opponent's at 3-5, 3-6, you get to side, burn 1, and then look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, basically make sure that you're going to win the game, and then you win. In order to increase the ceiling, you will see people play the Akikawa event specifically. That's the most popular thing to go with this. You can pick it up off of the Check X, and you get the additional burn 2 or burn 3. That can really raise the floor of this considerably. Suddenly you're looking at 3 burn 1s, a burn 2, or a burn 3, and a finishing board. Now you've got kind of a more normal range top end with the benefit of the Mocha. So definitely a more comprehensive finishing package when you have the event involved. You'll see people run the Scarlet and Vodka package as well. You aren't spending a lot of stock on the current, so if you've got some stock that's just kind of burning a hole in the board, then you get to spend 2 for a burn 1, just on play. Sure, why not? So I do like this, but I think that there are some very obvious challenges with it. That being said, definitely the best finisher in the set. Definitely one of the most consistent, especially if you've got the event package. And that consistency on the Check X means you're going to triple this thing basically every time. In terms of packages, you usually see the stock soul with this. Running the bar on the Curran makes it easier to loop a stock soul level 1. Just makes your life a little bit easier. You do get the extra stock off the stock soul as well, so you get to, throw that extra stock into a Scarlet Vodka package or into a stock swap or something like that. Triple Curran into a deck that you just stock swapped can be pretty lethal. The other one that I like is the level 1 McQueen. The Pants trigger obviously means you're looping the level 1, Pants and Bar, you just got CXs in hand the whole day. It also can pick up the Curran itself, which usually isn't an issue. Selecting for the Curran usually isn't a challenge, but it can pick up the Curran with its salvage option on the level 1 combo. But yeah, this is the most popular deck in the set for a reason. Extremely consistent. Whatever level 1 combo you're playing, extremely consistent. You will get Curran online. You will almost certainly have at least one good combo turn. There are so many fixing pieces at level 0 in Uma. It's very easy to get your board together. This is going to be as consistent of a build as you're going to see. Probably the second most popular finisher in this set is the Special Week Choice combo. Heals gains 3k. Combos with the choice. Pay 2, check 3 from your opponent's deck. Put 1 climax and 1 character or event from those top 3 into their clocks. So, if you reveal 3 characters, put 1 character into clock. Reveal a character, a CX, and an event, put the CX and either the character or the event into clock. Reveal 3 CXs, put a CX into clock. You are guaranteed a clock burn that they cannot stop off the top 3 cards. That is guaranteed uncancelable, and you can get 2 if there's a CX and something else in the top 3 cards. This is pretty cool. Like, the fact that you could theoretically just stick 6 that they can't cancel means that this has a very high ceiling. Unfortunately, it comes with an expense. It is a 10 stock finisher if you triple this. There are ways to bring that cost down, right? Like, you're running choice triggers. Like, if you trigger a choice in the middle of that turn, you could make this happen for 9. You also can play that level 3 Tazuna event that we talked about earlier. That's probably going to get run in this, quite frankly. I think that is probably how you get to the 3rd special week, is you just run the Tazuna and hope. So not as consistent as you'd like, but it can absolutely save you 2 stock and make triple finisher a realistic possibility. And even if you do triple, there's a very real chance that you're going to check 3 in your opponent's deck, and those top 3 are all going to be characters, and then the swing will cancel because the CX was the 4th card. It runs into the deck order check problem. You can absolutely just do 3 damage off of this, or 4 damage, because if the CX is the 4th card down every time, they're just not going to eat the swings, and you're not going to do enough damage to actually close. You need a vanilla swing to stick for this finisher to close, pretty much no matter what happens. You do get a lot of access to yellow, obviously. Yellow is one of the strongest colors in this set, so you get the off finisher yellows, you get the level 2 Akikawa event in yellow, so very easy to play most of the good off finisher stuff. The Akikawa, you can't pick it up as easily as you can in Curran, but there's no hand requirement for special week, so playing this event literally does not affect your ability to do combo at all. So if you collect these over the course of the game, even if you just get 2, dump them into memory as soon as you can, you pay them out, you get an additional burn 2 on the special week, kind of raises that floor. Also, the El Condor Pasa can potentially summon special week for free. Probably won't, but it could. It also gets to do additional damage when you only get 2 lanes of special week. So 8 stock allows you to double special week with a pasta. You could do a lot worse. I don't hate that finishing board. So if the Tazuna whiffs, you play the pasta instead. What combos are we running with special week? Well, we got a couple options. I kind of like the Haru here. I think the Haru is really fun. Stock Soul obviously is just good in a list that has a high stock finisher. You can loop the Haru over and over again. It has a CX swap attached to it, so you don't need to run another CX swap. So it basically frees up a couple of slots in your list because this is your plussing combo and you don't have to run a CX swap either. So opens up the list a little bit. You would have to run some other red to find your stock swap access, but I think this works pretty well with this. I really enjoy this package. I think that the Haru is interesting, and I think that it can help pay for the special week. The best one in this list is probably the Seiyun Sky. You get to run 8 choice triggers. You get to run another thing that has a soul trigger on it. Because it's just a check 3 add anything, you can pick up the 2-0 event, you can pick up the Tazuna event, the CX to try to loop combo, and you also have the pay 1 loot to get rid of a bad hand, add a CX, add an event. I think that is probably the way to do it, just because it gives you more access to the event and the potential of actually keeping this combo going. It does need a reverse though, which is what Haru does not need. So depending on the situation, depending on your local meta, because this is probably a local meta level deck anyway, depending on your local meta, if you're playing into a whole bunch of standby stuff, maybe you drop the Haru so you don't need to get reverses. If you're playing into smaller boards, maybe you run the Sky so that you have better event access. In any case, both are pretty reasonable, both are viable enough for at least casual play, and I think it's a really fun package to run. This is one of my favorite combos in the set, the Rice Shower Door on play heals. Combo with the door on reverse, pay 2, pitch 1 to burn 1, and then burn 3 if you have a marker. And she always has that marker because you run her girlfriend, the 2-1 Mihono Bourbon. When it's on the board when Rice enters, she has Inspire, so she becomes the marker. She refunds 1 stock, gives Rice anti-backup, which means that she'll get her reverse because opponents can't play backups to scale her. And it also top checks your opponent's top 2, so you get to know what you're about to swing into. This package is neat. This package is pretty cool. It's non-interactive, and it has a higher ceiling than most other things in the set because it has 3 instances of damage on each lane. Another thing that's tough to triple, right? Like you could try to run the Tazuna in this to try to just get a Rice out for free. But I think the better play is actually just to run this as a 2-lane finisher with the Maruzensky in the 3rd lane. Maruzensky's a Musashi. So when this card's attack is canceled, you can cancel burn, which means if you check top 2 and there is a CX there, you swing with the Maruzensky first. You're probably swinging with the Maruzensky first most of the time, just to try to help pay for the pay 2 on the Rice Shower on reverse, just for efficiency purposes. But I think the Maruzensky makes sense as the 3rd lane, especially when you do see the cancel on top. You're on color with the stock swap, which is good. Red is a color that doesn't have a whole lot of pieces you see a lot. You've got like the Nice Nature and you've got the Kita-san. That's about it though. You don't really have a ton of other red that you see a lot of people running, so it's helpful to have easier access to the stock swap. And of course, you do get to run a door trigger, which this is a pretty hand-intensive combo, right? Because you've got to have the bourbon on the board. You need to play the Rice, and then it's a ditch one as well on a heal level 3. So overall, this is a fun package. It's a cohesive package, and I think that you can do some stuff with level 1 to make it work even better. Most people are running 8 door because it's 8 door, even though there isn't any salvage trigger specific synergy in this set. Defensive Scry with the Tamamo Cross can lengthen the game by a turn and help to pay for the expensive Rice Shower finisher. I don't love these two together. I've tried playing these two combos together. The challenge is that you're trying to loop this Ogre Cap, and you can't focus on building towards your endgame, and it can make it difficult to actually have the pieces you need to build that endgame. I really like the McQueen in this list because it salvages the level 2 and level 3 combo pieces immediately. It also makes it easier to loop because it's on pants, and you have access to the blue stuff, which means you can get into your salvage trigger with the Mejiro Bright, and you have access to a lot of the good inheritance pieces at level 1 in blue. I like this. I think that this is the way to play it. Pants salvage is kind of a classic trigger combination anyway. But in any case, I think this is a really fun combo, and it's absolutely a viable thing to play, especially in like a locals or a Meister Cup environment. This is a very reasonable finisher to play. Moving on, the Narita Bryan Standby. This is the standby package that we were referencing earlier. When it's in the front row, it gains 1500 power. Everything gains 1500 power. The combo with the standby is pay 1, pitch 1, burn 3. Very normal. We've seen that on standby before, but I like that this is a front row power piece that also has a decent finishing combo. You have a lot of options with your standby game in Uma. You've got an unreversible 1/1, you've got multiple good 2/2s, you got back row 1/1s that pump power. So you can kind of play however you want to play the standby game. Another deck that's on color with the stock swap, which is nice. I like to play this a little more defensively because you have a 2/2 that sits 11, and when you get this Narita Bryan on the board, it sits 12-5 defensively when you have a full board, and that's just a really nice big number. We'll get into that in just a second. The pieces you're almost certainly going to see in this, the Kita level 1, it's a twin driver. We like twin drive in standby because it pays out standby triggers, right? Whenever you trigger a soul, it gains power, and it has twin drive. That's just a good thing to put on the board. You don't necessarily have to triple the level 1 standby combo, which we talked about earlier. So having this on the board to try to pay out standby triggers might be a little more efficient of a play than actually trying to triple the actual combo. I also really like the Scarlet Vodka package in this. Comes down at 2, and then you just have free burns and heals as long as they're on the board. Obviously, this might just be a win more kind of a package, but I think it's neat, and I've been working with it, and I think it's a really fun thing to have in the standby list. If you're running the Bryan finisher, you're running 8 standby. Like, you could run something else, but it makes way more sense to just run it as 8 standby and do the thing that the set wants you to do, which is run this as 8 standby. The combo's just good. You'll be able to play with a relatively large hand on standby, which is kind of unusual, especially if you have the nice nature Amagi that can also like pay out a standby and, add cards to hand when you slam the CX. Like, you've got options with this, but you're gonna have hand, which is really, really nice. It doesn't hold board at 1 because it's trying to hold board at 2. There is a level 2 combo that can come down at 1 and stand itself. You can try to put a little more of a traditional board game. That's fine. I like this a little bit better because you get to lean into playing these other 2/2s. The Helios 2/2 is my favorite. It's blue. It gets to sit at 11 on your opponent's turn when you have a full board. It's 7 on your turn, so it doesn't swing super big, but it holds board. But it holds board defensively, and then when it swings into an open lane going the other way, you get to stock 1 from Waiting Grip. So you get to stock up, and you get to put a clean card out of your deck. I think this is a good card, and I think this is my favorite standby target in the deck. You also have a Biwa Hayahide, a couple of Biwa Hayahides that are trying to assist, to give power to other things, help you just play a more board-based game. You have the 1/1 unreversible that's good, and then the Rice Shower back row that also can pump power and also is a tap pay to heal, which means you wouldn't have to play the traditional healer in this. You could just run the Rice Shower and just tap for heals. So I think the standby package is very cohesive. I think it's a fun deck. I've been working with it, and I think it's a really interesting and fun package. It works fine. It's not going to be meta level standby because that doesn't do anything super special. You kind of need something a little more over the top for a standby deck to really stand out and be meta relevant right now. But this is perfectly reasonable. It's a very competent package, and I really enjoy playing it. And finally, let's talk about some pants finishers. The 3/2 gold ship gains 2k power and also heals when you play it. On attack, reveal the top card. If it's a character or an event, restand. You have ways to guarantee that the restand will go off, most notably the 2/1 sweep Tosho. Tap, check 2, rearrange, but it's also an inheritor. So you can play it, pay 1, and then it'll go under the gold ship because it needs a marker for its effect, and refund its own stock. That and the bourbon are the only two that do that. So the fact that you can do that and save yourself a stock with the Tosho is really, really nice. There is also a Matakane Fukukitaru that lets you give a character check 2 on attack. So if you check with the sweep on the first 2 gold ships and they're clean, you can play the Fuku and give your third gold ship a top check. So you might actually be able to pull off all 3 of the restands. Not guaranteed. It's hard to guarantee all 3 lanes, but you usually can get yourself in a position where you're going to get 2 of them at least, which means this is a low ceiling finisher, unfortunately, right? The ceiling on this is not high, but you do get very good rate. You get to hold up your hand, you get to hold up your stock, so you have anything you want to do to augment this, you can do. If you want to play those Akikawa events, you can. If you want to play something else in the third lane, so you just take the 2 gold ship lanes that you're more likely to guarantee, and then play something else in the third lane, you can do that. Definitely have the stock access for stock swap, which can make this much better. Really does just die to memory kick, because when it gets memory kicked, you cannot restand it because it's gone. So if your opponent is holding up memory kick, that just kind of sucks. You can't do anything about it. You just kind of have to swing and eat the fact that you're only going to get 5 swings, which is another reason why this isn't a meta level finisher. You'll most likely be playing 8 pants, which means you will almost certainly be playing this Mejiro Ryan, which is kind of the 5th beetle of the Inspire package. It's only really good in a pants list, but on player on death, you can ditch a pants, check 5 at a character, and it has Inspire. So it can get rid of extra pants that you trigger or draw on play or on death, which means that, if you trigger during main phase on the follow-up turn, you can then get rid of it before you draw for turn. It has Inspire, which means that it can be the marker for Golshi or any of your level 1 combo stuff. The most obvious thing to do in this deck is play the Mejiro McQueen level 1 combo. Obviously, it's 8 pants, you can loop this thing, you can pick up Golshi directly off the combo. It's just the thing that makes the most sense. If your level 1 McQueen combo is otherwise occupied in a different deck and you don't feel like buying a second playset, might I suggest you run the Bakashin 2 Soul? We are reaching the bottom of the playset here. You might as well do something kind of goofy with this list. It pushes damage early and has perfect fixing, so you can maybe get ahead and then you're only trying to close with Golshi from 3-0. It also inherits, so you get to run all those kind of off level 1 pieces that turn the Inspire pieces into salvages or searches. You could do a lot worse, and again, like I said, we're working with the bottom of the playset here. We're running out of combos that we can put with things. So if you don't feel like buying a second copy of your McQueen level 1 playset, maybe you throw in a little bit of Bakashin and see what happens. The other finisher that's worth talking about is the Narita Top Road. It's the trial deck pants combo. We're not going to go into too much detail on this because you're basically doing the same kind of thing in terms of the package. It's probably going to be 8 pants unless you want to just run something else because you don't feel like or have an extra set of the level 1 combo. On play heal combo with pants. If you have a full board, it gains cancel burn 3, followed up by a cancel burn 1. So you're almost certainly going to get 1 damage off in every lane. Feels like a pretty good 3-0 closing combo, quite honestly. Of course, with the full board, subject to memory kick like the rest. Very cheap, right? It's just on attack. There's no additional cost to it, so it's very cheap to get. This honestly could be better than the gold ship, quite frankly, because the cancel burns do just give you that higher floor that a gold ship doesn't necessarily have. But the package is going to be similar. You're probably looking at 8 pants. You're going to play this Mejiro Ryan, etc. And then, plan on closing from 3-0. So there we go. We've talked about basically how to play everything in Umamusume Set 1. let's get into the buyer's guide real quick. Playsets are going for about $230, maybe $250, especially now that we're actually into release week. So look around, ask around, see what is available. Trial decks are usually going to go for about $15 to $20. Don't buy them on TCG Player at like $35 or whatever they are right now. Try to find an LGS and pick them up from there, or at the very least, just give it a week or two and you'll be able to get those trial decks at MSRP. If you're building a lot of stuff in Uma, even if you get a full playset, you are going to need extra copies of a lot of cards, most notably the Chiona Brainstormer. You need that. You absolutely will need that. That's a 4 of in a lot of lists. Anything that runs an inheritance package, you're going to want to put that in there if you can. The Ricky is your best fixing piece for level 1, so you're definitely going to want to run that as well in as many lists as you can. The CX swap is typically going to be a 1 or a 2 of in any list that isn't running the Haru combo, especially because you do need that red fix for stock swap. The drop salvage, your mileage may vary. Most people are running it as a 1 or a 2 of because it is an Inspire piece, so it's just got that little extra synergy with the rest of the package. Like I said earlier, I think the healer is quite good. I'm running the healer in a lot of stuff, and I've been doing quite fine with it. So I think you run this as a 2 of in most lists. And the other one that I think is really important, the big level 0 plussing unit that isn't the Maruzensky, is going to be the Sato no Diamond Clean Cut, just because it synergizes with that Brainstorm so well. This is going to be the big one. Unfortunately, it's a double R, so it might not be as easy to get extra copies. Fortunately, a lot of the good cards are available as uncommons or commons or in the TD. Maruzensky obviously is the big one at common. You want 40 copies of this. You want to put 4 of it in every list until the list tells you otherwise. Measure Bright is another card that's going to see play in almost every list. If it's got blue, it's running bright. The Sato no Diamond trial deck combo, you can get 4 copies in the TD just by buying the one trial deck that the Diamond combo is in, because there are 2 different trial decks. The Nice Nature helmet is only a 2 of, and it's in the other trial deck. So you're probably going to want to have 1 of each trial deck regardless. The Nice Nature is going to be a card you may need to pick up extra copies on the secondary market, but because it's in the trial deck, it should be pretty accessible. I also think that the digital hand of stock is quite good. I'm running this as a 1 of in most lists, especially the ones that need that stock augmentation. But anything in green, I'm running it as a 2 of. I think this is a really underrated card. I think you're going to want to have extra copies of it. And crucially, the Akikawa event, that is, like I said earlier, is either a 4 of or a 0 of. A lot of decks wanted this a 4 of. So if you want to run this in a bunch of stuff, fortunately, it's a common, pretty easy to pick up. And that is it for me. Thank you so much for joining me for this. The first part of how to play every deck in Umamusume. Part 2 will come out when Set 2 comes out in December. Until then, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with the Clock Talk. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.